Hi guys, it's Adi here with Geek on Gadgets, and this is going to be a rundown of the differences between last year's LG flagship, the G4, and the brand new LG G5. Now both of these are the top of the line G series, which means it's this year's flagship. And a lot has changed between last year's G4 and this year's G5, both inside and out. So starting with the outside, the most obvious difference is going to be a different take on the design of the G5. Whereas the G4 and its previous line of G phones had the volume button, the volume rocker on the back of the phone, the G5 instead has it on the left-hand side of the phone. The back of the phone instead only has the power button, which also doubles as a fingerprint scanner. Now the reason LG have actually changed what has kind of been their whole mantra in terms of phone design was purely due to the fact that they couldn't fit the volume buttons on the back of the phone as well as having the modular dock. So it was either or, and they decided to go with the modular bottom. On the front of the phone, the G5 also carries over some of the G4 with the same beautiful IPS LCD QHD display. However, this display is brighter than ever and better than ever. Both screens have the same QHD display, of course, but since the G5's display is only 5.3 inches versus the 5.5 inch display on the G4, it actually has a higher PPI, clocking in at 554 PPI versus the 538 PPI of the G4. Not a big difference, but for people who like crunching numbers. The display on the G5 also comes with Gorilla Glass 4 versus the Gorilla Glass 3 on the G4. Another important feature that has to be mentioned when talking about the display on the G5 is, of course, the secondary IPS LCD display right here that doubles as an always-on clock for your notifications, date, and time at a quick glance. The G4, of course, didn't have any of that, so this is another addition to the G5's screen. Another obvious difference between the two devices on the exterior is, of course, the build quality and material. Whereas the G4, LG went with this handmade leather, and they made a whole series of production different leather backs and also a couple plastic backs. The G5, however, is a metal body, and it's actually metal coated with a plastic paint, so it doesn't feel cold to the touch, but at the same time the plastic paint also covers any ugly antenna lines. Another glaring difference between the two is also on the back, of course, the cameras. Whereas the G4 obviously has the single 16 megapixel camera, the G5 does have the same exact camera with the same lens. However, it also adds a second wide angle 8 megapixel camera that has a lens of 135 degrees. So it's basically almost a fisheye lens to get a very larger view of the room or subject that you're taking a picture of. And it's really useful for taking pictures in tight spaces. Both the G5 and the G4 pack removable batteries, however, slightly different takes on them. Of course, the G5 has this removable slot here because of the fact that it's a modular phone and this is the whole exchange dock. The G4 has a standard removable battery. However, the G4's battery is actually larger. It has a 3000 milliamp battery, while the G5 only has a 2800 milliamp battery. And I know you can increase the battery size with some modules, but it's always nice to have a larger battery. So, both phones also have expandable memory slots. The G4 is under the cover and the G5 is on this side dock right here. So you don't have to worry about storage in either phone. So the internals of both phones are almost the same, but what really makes a difference is the processor in the G5. The G4 came in with a Snapdragon 808 processor, which wasn't even the top of the line because the Snapdragon 810 processor had some overheating issues. However, the G5 does not hold back. It comes with a Snapdragon 820 processor and 4 gigabytes of RAM. Versus the 3 gigabytes of RAM in the G4, that is quite a leap, and it's very obvious in the actual performance of the phone, where the G5 just flies through everything. I haven't had it stutter or slow down or lag or whatever, any term you want for just a slow phone. I haven't seen any of that. And all in all, the G5 is a very worthy upgrade of the G4. There are some design differences that might make you think it's a different phone, like it's not from the same lineup, but it definitely has that flagship feel to it, and regardless of the placement of the back or volume buttons, the G5 is still a pretty awesome device. What do you guys think about the changes between the G4 and G5? Is there anything you were hoping to see in the G5 that didn't show up? Is there anything that you were pleasantly surprised to see? Personally, for me, the fingerprint scanner was a huge plus in the G5, as I thought LG wasn't really interested in that. But anyways, that's the differences between them. Hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, guys. See you around.